Hey there, it's Sonia Miller, speaker, coach, and author, and I'm back with another Q&A session. And today's question starts like this. I feel invisible. How do I change this? So, I personally love this question. It's something I've contemplated at length, and I look forward to sharing some ideas that I hope will be useful to you. So the first thing that anyone who feels invisible, so if you feel invisible, see if this rings true for you, is we tend to address, once again, the symptom versus the problem. And the way we do this is we think that in order for me to feel visible, you have to see me. So we put the power in the external world. And there's actually no power in trying to control somebody into seeing you and fighting for that and squawking for that and thinking somebody else or something else or a certain environment needs to change. We can do it, we'll get seen, we'll be visible, but that won't address in a lasting way this feeling of I feel invisible. So we go back to consciousness creates. Your consciousness is the cause of every effect. If we want to solve the problem and not just address the symptom, the problem lies in consciousness. Okay, so the question then becomes, what is required within me to feel visible? And usually what happens, there's usually two things that contribute to you feeling invisible. One is, if you feel invisible, at some point, you agree to hide. Okay. Now, that statement is very powerful. Finding the ways that we've agreed to hide, that can take a little inner inquiry, self-inquiry, contemplation. But by asking the correct question now, which is, where did I agree to hide, rather than what do I do to get you to see me, now you've reclaimed your power, because the power is not outside of you, it's in you. So where did I agree to hide? What are the aspects of me that I don't see, that are not visible to me? That's the first part, okay? And then the second part that I want to offer is when we have aspects of ourselves that we don't see, it's often invisible in and of itself, okay? Because it's not about who you see in the mirror. It's about something that's happening in your inner world, okay? It's feeling based. It's experience, okay? And many times what happens is that to some degree or another, when we feel invisible, and I want to emphasize the word feel, it's because what we were valued for was not who we are, our beingness, but for what we do, how we perform our actions. Which now ties us into looking at this question of invisibility through looking at feminine and masculine models of power. And if you want to flesh this conversation out, I invite you to go to my previous video on how do we heal the pain and wounds between feminine and masculine. So what happens is that we live in a culture and a society in a time in history where masculine energy has gotten lots and lots of attention and validation and reward. And the masculine is essential and beautiful and vital, and it's only part of the equation. So a masculine model of power values performance in the best sense of the word, because I know some people think of performing as like putting on an act or entertainment. No, I'm talking about performance, and the definition of that is about really executing and delivering something based in our actions. So it's where action gets validated and valued. Okay, so the masculine model of power values performance. The feminine model of power values presence. And so if we were to ask ourselves, what is required for me to feel visible? If you sit with it long enough, and maybe it's a new idea for you, maybe you're aware of it, but usually what it means is that when we are simply being who we are, maybe we're feeling something, another person is present with us. Okay? We're not being seen for what we do. We are being witnessed. There's a space that's being held for us. Somebody is simply bestowing their attention on us. Nothing's being done. Okay? So the interesting thing is that for us to feel visible, nothing needs to actually be done. No action needs to be taken. It's really about the experience of presence. Now, if growing up we had somebody present with us exactly as we were, exactly how we were in that moment, our beingness, then we have an experience of presence, and that becomes internalized. Okay? But if we don't necessarily know what that's like to have somebody present with us, then when we are simply being, okay, then we haven't really learned how to be present with ourselves. So feeling visible is about seeing those aspects of yourself that you've never really necessarily seen or know how to be present with. And a lot of times it's just how we feel in the moment. It's a witnessing that we do with ourselves. Okay? So to drive maybe another point a little bit deeper, to really illustrate the power of presence, I'd like you to imagine that there's two actors on a stage and they're delivering a monologue. Now, they're delivering exactly the same monologue, the same exact words, okay? Now, one of them has memorized it and they're doing the performance, the action of it perfectly. And you just kind of watch them and you're like, okay, well, they delivered it well. And then the other actor who delivers the exact same words, okay, in their performance, you are moved, you are inspired, maybe you even feel tears. So what was the difference between these two people, actors or actresses? When they did the same thing, they both took the same action of getting on stage and delivering the same exact words. One embodied a certain presence. They were connected to this invisible aspect of themselves. And the other one, maybe not so much. So bringing this question of invisibility into the larger world stage of where feminine energy, where people are wanting to be seen, see me, or in individual intimate relationships, I want to be seen. Part of it is understanding that masculine energy is seen, feminine energy is felt. And if what we really want is to experience the power that is rooted in the feminine, it isn't enough to just be seen, because we're seen for what we produce, our actions, our activities, maybe even our thoughts can be seen, okay? But when we're longing to be seen, perhaps what we're really longing for is presence. To have somebody be present with us, witness us, simply because we exist, which requires us to learn how to be present with ourselves. When we start to learn to be present with aspects of ourselves that have been hidden from us, that we agreed to hide for whatever reason, which is a whole other conversation, but basically aspects of ourselves are hidden and we don't see them, proverbial seeing of the invisible, but we aren't able to witness or acknowledge or pay attention to those aspects of self. Until we are able to do that, we might crave to be seen. But again, ask yourself, what would it require for me to feel seen? Well, what's interesting is we are pursuing a feeling. I want to feel seen. I want to feel seen. So it's a feeling, it's a presence. Remember, masculine energy is seen, feminine energy is felt, And for those of us who want to access our untapped power, we have the opportunity to open up to the full continuum of the feminine masculine scale, the spectrum of energies and qualities, suspending the judgments that we have around feminine and masculine, and really learning the language and how to value that which we have devalued. Only then can we really tap into those aspects of self that just have been unavailable to us. So I hope this gives you some insight into how to change it when you feel invisible, to know that it's much more than being seen. It's about being present with the aspects of yourself that you haven't been able or willing to fully value and acknowledge. So I hope this was helpful. And if it was, please like and share. It helps me reach the people that I'm here to serve. And if you'd like more information, just go to successforthesoul.com. Shoot me an email, reach out, send me your questions. I'm here to serve. Hope you have a great day. Bye.